Merry Christmas! Welcome to GI Joburg, episode 306. Cobra claws are coming to town. My name is Steve, and in the most wonderful of circumstances, I'm joined in studio
by Rob,
old friend Rob.
The first time I've been introduced before Paul. Will he even join us tonight?
Don't get used to it.
Ooh.
It is our festive episode, and yes, Paul is in attendance. Here he comes, Deadly Pencils, all the way from Joburg, our namesake. Here he is. Hey, Paulie.
Yay.
Hey, dudes. Was that meant to be Jingle Bells or like the haunting of the castle tower? Because
I don't know what it sounds like on your end. Once upon a time, when I was still a choir boy, and I think you were too, Rob, perhaps we sang in the same choir.
I was never a choir boy.
Did this massive event with Richard Koch, who is
Dick Cock.
quite an esteemed conductor, muso.
Parents didn't like him at all.
No, clearly not. In fact, his whole family has
But his daughter, what is his daughter's name?
Alex.
Alex Cock, yeah.
Yeah.
Alec Cock.
Anyway. Take it easy, brothers. You don't want YouTube to demonetize this one as well as our previous one.
It's a name, Alex.
AI, they're on our case.
Whoa.
I did dispute it, by the way.
Good.
So anyway, getting back to my story, he used to have these concerts, end of year concerts, and there were obviously a lot of Christmas carols. So I think in Jingle Bells, he encouraged all the audience members to take out their keys, and when he instructed them to do so, to shake them in the air.
He loved his audience that word.
Oh, very John Lennon.
This is the GI Joe podcast, and we are in fact live with some wonderful people in attendance. If you're catching this on the replay, welcome. Good to have you.
Hello.
If you're catching it right now, hot off the presses, warts and all, we've got Ronnie Trickshot all the way from Australia. Hello, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah.
MCDJ, ACDC, Spoon Killer, Bob Squad, Mark van Leeuwen from the Netherlands, Facebook user, which I imagine is Christopher. Hello. Or perhaps
As in
Rob,
the same
I don't know.
Christopher.
Rick Fiction.
As in the same Christopher who did those amazing Lego minifigs with the GI Joburg shirt.
Oh. No way.
There are Easter eggs aplenty. If you're not sure what Paul is referring to, Brick Fiction, our buddy Christoph from the United States, has once again concocted an amazing stop-motion adventure, this time very seasonal. The link is in the description to the YouTube video that you are currently watching, if you're watching on YouTube. I would encourage everyone to check this out. It is very impressive. I'm almost embarrassed at how professional this guy makes everything look. Stop motion is an art, and he is definitely well studied in it.
Nailing it.
Pixar silly action figure movies look very amateur. They are, by admission, but this guy.
Stop motion is absolutely amazing. It's amazing. People who can do it are like next level.
And his Lego builds are also next level. And this coming from a guy who has some exposure to GI Joe represented in Lego. So, yeah. Suitably impressed, and so shall you be. If you like G.I. Joe and you don't mind Lego and you love stop motion adventures, this one's definitely for you.
Okay, welcome Brad Bertrand.
Todd Bertrand.
Todd, oh.
That is a name that we do not recognize. Welcome to the madness.
Hello.
Todd Bertrand.
Where to begin?
Well, it is the Christmas Eve. So it's the 23rd now. So we're almost at Christmas. So it's nice that so many people are able to join us for almost Christmas. And we're at Stephen's house, and they put up this amazing Christmas tree, which I helped, actually. I helped put this thing up. Well, the whole family helped. Everyone helped.
Was that your first Jabba Christmas tree?
It was. I don't think I've ever been here for one of these. So it's nice to actually know that I helped, make it look as good as it does. So
it's pretty spiffy, and it is a real tree. It fills the house with this lovely pine fragrance, which, if you are a snob and have only ever had real trees, you ain't got time for that plastic nonsense.
No.
Fake. Well, I suppose it has its place. It certainly look good, and depending on how much work you put into decorating it. It can be
Oh, for sure. And it
superlative.
lasts longer,
No.
You're not going to find, land heaps filled with plastic trees.
We got Old Man Outback in the mix. Oh, I assume that's not Outback Stew. This is another Outback moniker.
We have many Outback fans out
Loving
there.
that.
Appropriate. He's a cool character.
And the Tiger Force Outback, no less.
Oh, Christmas Outback.
Awesome. Yeah, good old Saint Nick. We're going to talk about Christmas stories today, guys. I think. Should we, unless there's any business you'd like to attend to up front, Paul, we are going to talk about snowbound GI Joe adventures with Cobra Claws are coming to town.
Ooh.
Jumped a little bit ahead in our Sunbow rewatch, but it is a festive
episode.
episode.
But then the comic somehow landed on a snow episode anyway. So
issue 11, the Pipeline.
Oddly enough,
Stone Cold classic. But I think I have one major criticism, but we'll get into that.
Oh gosh.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Why? Do you think it's a perfect comic, Paul?
He does.
No, I don't think it's a perfect comic. I'm just I'm
He doesn't
curious
like
to
it
hear
at
what your
all.
criticism is. I've also got my own criticism for it, but I don't know if it's like I'm gonna throw it out there when we talk about it.
You better.
But
I don't know
before we
how.
get stuck into that, Paul, it's Christmas time. It's the season for giving and receiving, and many of us have perhaps our most cherished GI Joe memories associated with the festive season. Did you have any major GI Joe memories you'd like to relate, or any toy memories for that matter?
Motu, we'll even accept Motu.
Guys, Christmas, like, it's an odd one. Hey, like, GI Joe memories for Christmas. I think I only have like one before I met you guys, to be fair, which was the whole. I got an Eco Force Flint, Eco Warriors Flint, from David's mom, who got me that figure, and that was a really, really nice surprise because GI Joe's awesome. But before then, and I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast before, when I got my Cobra bug, it was actually a birthday gift. And then my parents had this to do at the police station. I think it was Hillbrow Police Station back in just before the wild years, should I say. So they had like a whole thing there. And so, the idea was, you bring Christmas presents and stuff, and then they'll have a moment and the kids will come and open their Christmas presents. Well, my parents had got me a Cobra bug for my birthday. I mean, like, so what I did is I took the box, threw a whole bunch of toys in there, and my Cobra bug, wrapped it up so that I could unwrap it at the thing, so I could have my Cobra bug to play with there. That's like lame. There's that. That was fun. Shit, I haven't thought of that in a long time. And then Optimus Prime.
I kind of knew the story was coming, and I almost dragged the Cobra bug box out from under my childhood bed, which is just a couple of meters that way. Just to kind of demonstrate it. How did I mean, I didn't know that you were actually going to talk about the box, but damn, maybe I could, you guys could spin the wheels while I got it. But then again, that doesn't make for great radio.
No, obviously
not. No, it's all good.
It is the European box art though. It'll have Annihilators and Norga Hides and Night Vipers,
I think, as well.
Lying on the engine.
Isn't there Frag Viper on there as well, like hanging out? Or am I thinking of the video game now?
Oh, you think video? Yeah, for sure.
I could be thinking of the video game. And then like the rest of them have all been with you guys, actually. I mean,
wonderful.
Geez, like
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, last year was pretty amazing. Warthog, hello, amongst other things that had arrived. So yeah, they've just been really awesome. But I think the cool thing is I can save those for future. Let me let you guys speak for a bit. I feel like I've spoken way too much.
Well, unfortunately, as I always say, my memories are horrendous. But I'm pretty sure every single Joe, Stephen has always done his best to get me a Joe for Christmas. Since his
He's
father,
cool like that.
Yeah, he is actually pretty cool like that. He wants to make sure everyone has a Joe mess. So I can't point any specific ones, but he definitely does his best to get me, a Joe every year. I mean, last 2 years was Countdown, and then last year was Night Creeper. No,
Night Viper.
Night Viper.
Not
It was
Viper.
Night Viper. So those are definitely two ones that are very recent ones. But I mean, yeah, I was definitely the gift from Stephen is the one that I look forward to seeing the most under the tree. Like my mom would get me something,
Aw.
I'd be like, yeah, put that aside, get that out of the way. Where's Stephen's gift? Where is it? Where is it? I need it right now. Where's my new toy?
Ah!
All these other
Also-
toys that everyone's giving me, these hundreds of toys that I've been given, dozens of
also,
envelopes
Rob-
filled with money. Nah, don't give me that. I want
Also-
whatever Steven's got on me this year.
And also, to
I
be
know
fair,
you like I
dude,
know myself, dude.
Oh,
Like, what do
And-
I really want? Okay, do
Yeah.
I have the fortitude, the inner
just
strength?
give it to Rob
give it
instead
to
of
Rob.
myself?
Duplicates only at this
Well,
stage.
obviously, yeah.
But,
we got some lovely comments
of it,
coming
yeah.
in. Blue Libra's leading the charge with his best Christmas memory: the Slugger, my
Oh.
first Joe, Sky Striker, Terradrome, and the MCC. Lots of figures and other vehicles along the way, but those 4 toys
Damn.
with the top list, that
Nice,
is
Blue
an
Libra.
amazing
Very cool.
list.
That is fantastic. Oh, I'd love to find those under the tree.
I think
An MCC.
that would set you up as a Joe fan. There's no doubt in my
Forever.
mind. Like we can all, I think, trace our love for this toy line back to these key moments, and like clearly for Blue Libra, Christmas
Yeah, that's
was
a huge starting thing for 4 years, hopefully in a row.
well for a lot of us, like the big ticket items, something we didn't dare to dream having until Christmas. Christmas is when like your wildest dreams could possibly come true. You wrote that list out for Santa, or if you were in the States, you circled things in the Sears wish book. I mean, what an amazing
For Santa.
item that was to
Too
have.
lucky.
And maybe you were lucky or fortunate enough, or your parents were just generous enough. I mean, the way
Or
money
just,
gets spent
yeah,
around
able to,
Christmas
yeah.
time, it's frightening. Now that we see the other side of the gift
Oh,
giving
yeah, no, now we
palaver.
have to give gifts to people. Goodness.
Hardcore. So yes, here's a shout out to the loved ones who filled
Made
our
those
Christmas
memories
stockings
possible. Yeah.
and propped stuff under them. Or Father Christmas.
Oh,
It's
yes, sorry.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa.
My
this
niece is
real.
just off camera and she's just muttered, I don't believe in him.
Well, yeah, because we just ruined it now.
So yeah, guys,
Oops.
That's
folks
so
in the
nice.
chat, throw us your
yeah.
your favorite GI Joe Christmas pickups. Dabuya J, who compliments us on this tree, also says that the General and the Hammerhead. Wish I still had those.
Whoa.
Wow, 1990 was a big year.
Huge, yeah. Mark van
Indeed.
Nerven got in 1988. He got the Dial Tone, Beachhead, and the Thunder Machine. Now that is a bumper Christmas.
There it is.
2 figures and the Thunder Machine.
Guys,
That's
I
a
got a
battle in
random.
the box, they like to call
You
it.
actually, yeah, you actually set up. You got 2 Joes and kind of like a useless Cobra machine.
I got a random question
still
for you guys.
What was that, Paul?
I got a random question for you guys and also the guys in the chats.
Word.
Is there any particular like TV series or movie series or whatever that you guys run over Christmas time that is not like typically a Christmas thing? So like No Miracle on 34th Street or whatever it is. I've never seen it anyway.
So something
No
that
Christmas
isn't
Story,
Christmassy.
like something that isn't typically Christmassy. And you know, and in this case, I suppose Die Hard also counts because Die Hard is Christmas.
But that's essentially
Christmas
become
one.
a Christmas movie, though.
Yeah,
I mean, people all agree that it's a Christmas movie. It's in the top 10 of most people's
exactly.
Christmas
That's why. Yeah. So anything with exception to Die Hard. But listen, when Netflix, I think it's Netflix or Disney Plus, one of the two, actually recommend that film as Christmas viewing.
Yeah, it's
So
Disney
if
Plus.
it's on the
Yeah.
recommended Christmas viewing, that's
Die
not
Hard.
unusual to watch on Christmas. Yeah. So what do you
Well,
do? You guys have
because it's a
anything like that?
joke now. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
why
meme,
it's kind of
yeah.
wormed its way into everyone's Christmas viewing list. I mean, yeah, because of the debate. That's why Die Hard is infamous. But as far as a recurring Christmassy film, for a long time it was anything from the original trilogy.
Interesting. Okay.
Because
Very cool.
I think, when Power of the Force 2 toys were in stores and I was buying that up like no tomorrow, yeah, man, I would sit and wait for the rest of the house to wake up while watching the space battle from Return of the Jedi or the battle on Hoth. Like, I just fast forwarded to the cool key battle moments, the assault on the
Mm.
first Death Star. And that's how I killed time, because I was too excited to sleep on Christmas morning. So I'd have to do something. So I'd slap in that cassette tape and watch me some Star Wars.
Wow.
That tracks.
Mine is
That
usually
works.
just, there are no non-Christmas things for Christmas. Like, it really is just Christmas stuff that I watch. Like Home Alone, always Home Alone, always Die Hard. Love Actually, which is the 20th anniversary this year of Love Actually.
Cool movie,
Isn't that
that actually.
Keira
20
Knightley's
years old.
still fine. But
She's nice.
her subplot is the one that triggers me the most.
Oh.
This is the subplot where
with the guy like
where
she's like got a boyfriend.
No, that she's getting married.
Yes.
And the best man of the groom is secretly in love with her. And then has the
audacity to
burden her with this knowledge. It's like, dude, take that one on the chin. Just walk away. Walk away. You can achieve nothing good by baiting her like that. You're gonna screw up your friendship. You're gonna lose the girl. Like, it doesn't end well.
A wedding. I mean, there's a lot of months of planning.
Parents
put into
the wedding was fine. Anyways, we're off the beaten track. But if you consider Love Actually one of your like Christmas go-tos, it's that storyline bugs me.
Christmas is all around me. It's everywhere I go.
That movie put Bill Nye on a pedestal.
I love Bill Nye though. He's great.
Some wonderful comments flooding in. Gundam Wing, Endless Waltz.
Yeah,
Well,
great Christmas film actually.
That's Moonlight 47s. Some Pee Wee Herman is Todd Butcher's. And Todd, yes, okay, now I remember, man. We had some I believe email discourse. Yep. To answer Robert Kalupitan's question, am I back in South Africa? Well,
he's got Max.
Wow, what do you think, buddy?
I came all the way to Australia.
Hey, Kalupitan. There's Max from Macross.
Ronnie Trickshot tells us that the Locust was a Christmas pickup. He didn't care that it couldn't fly. It was just a cool helicopter, and it absolutely is.
It can fly. You just go.
Zantara, Christmas 1986. Monkey Wrench, Xandar, Zarana, Thrasher, and the Thunder Machine.
Whew. Well, I mean,
so good.
If you know Zantara from the comments, you know that Zantara loves some Dreadnoks.
Why wouldn't you?
Collection.
Dreadnoks are awesome, unless you're wrong.
I mean, that
makes me wonder if Zantara has anything beyond Dreadnoks in the collection. Dreadnoks and Dreadnok adjacent characters only, right? Am I right?
That's a good focus, though. I mean, you know how I feel about it, but I think it's cool that someone has a focus. Like, it's Dreadnoks, and that's the characters I love.
And Ronnie Trickshot shoots back, saying he can't go past Home Alone for all-time greatest Christmas movies.
It's amazing. It really is.
I tried rewatching it as an adult. It didn't have.
It's so good.
Is it so good? I remember as a child really loving. I think there's a moment where Kevin McAllister is putting micro machines somewhere. To have.
Yeah, for one of the traps, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that got me to sit up in my chair in the movie cinema, the movie theater at that point.
Toys.
But yeah, like, it's a cool movie for just like early 90s tat, because that house is loaded with like.
Oh, because his brother has like a ton of stuff.
Such cool stuff. Yeah, whoever set dressed that film like went to town, man. Bought up Toys R Us circa 1990. Too cool.
Oh, the story behind it is very good. Like, the story behind how that film was made is pretty interesting.
Big Lebowski over Christmas. That's a good choice.
That is a good choice.
Feels like a Christmas movie for them.
I did not know that it took place on 9/11.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But I mean, it must be pre 9/11.
Yeah, sure. But a date that's gonna now live on in infamy.
That's
wow.
Wild.
I hope that doesn't taint the film in any way. Hot take. Whoa, coming in hot from Jeff Morris. Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone. Tim Curry. Enough said.
No, I have to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched the second one in ages.
I may rewatch the second one.
He gets lost in New York in that one. Hey, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Horrible video game. Just saying.
And Shane Brayler, Christmas 85, got my aircraft carrier amongst other things. Oh my goodness.
How
Very
do
cool.
you have a tree big enough to fit the aircraft carrier in it?
It dwarfs the tree. I mean, most trees are not as gargantuan as the one behind me, but that's awesome.
Ooh,
Wow.
Justin 6 says Batman Returns is a good Christmas movie.
I agree. I concur. It's actually cool to see Toy
Yeah.
Galaxy covering it. Because that to me is always
and Tara
hit
actually
as a
finally
Christmas
answers
film.
our burning question about their collection. They do have many figures other than Dreadnoks. Most of the figures other until the line was overtaken by reissued figures. Okay.
Shots fired back.
Just keep the same characters over and over again.
I'm so glad somebody mentioned Batman because for me, it's the Batman the Animated Series. I often find that as a DVD I'll pop in DVD, Blu-ray. Ever since I got my hands on it, it's kind of become a Christmas staple for me.
Were
so
there
I kind of
more?
just pop it in.
I remember the Joker one. It was quite early on in the run. I think it was the first
Yes.
Joker episode that was a Christmas special.
Yes, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
But
watched
just
that
the
with
whole
kids just the other day.
Oh, yeah, it's on
Very
Netflix.
cool.
It features a train. Of course, he loved it.
But like, yeah, I did love the whole kind of the milieu. Like, I just find the Batman animated series is just so great over Christmas time for some reason. I don't know if it's just because I don't know what it is. It just resonates with me. I also caught Jumanji the other day for the first time in a very long time. And for the first time in my viewing of it, and I think this is like the third or fourth time I've watched that film. Fifth time I've watched that film. The first time ever I actually spotted the GI Joe HQ in the background of the toy shop that they're in. So they're in a toy shop, and all kinds of insanities going down there. The hunter is after them. And you'll actually see it's the one of what's it called? Fort America, the one that unfolds. It's like
It's just the
Rob's
GI
got
Joe
it.
headquarters, the
Yeah,
1992 one.
It's that one. So, and you see the back of the box. So you see the white backing with the schematic of it, which is pretty cool. Actually, it's like it's a really nice surprise. And I remembered exactly where I was when I watched that film the first time in cinema. I was trying to get into watching Bad Boys.
No way.
They denied us. Yeah. So we went to
Booby
Jumanji
prize.
instead.
You guys aren't bad enough.
But yeah, it did feel like a
Yeah.
booby prize film at the time because you were just not old enough to watch something as hardcore as Bad Boys. You know, but
Our
anyway.
Bad Boys was Blade.
Dude, Blade's actually kind of a rough film. But did you get
Still
bounced
got
from
in
it? Because that's
anyway.
hilarious.
We were about 14 and it was a 16 age restriction. And
Same
so-
with
I got
Bad
in
Boys.
Oh,
fine.
Shut up, your
Steven was
face.
like,
Look, I got some facial hair going. I had the wisp of a beard. I'm gonna be a guys, I'm real old. Or when I say beard, I really just mean a furry top lip.
But
the guy,
huge fuzz.
I mean,
still ass in.
what does he care? Just another admission.
No, they gave a shit on our side. Hey, they really fought me on the whole Bad Boys
Nah,
thing.
the guys down here wanted money.
It's the only time I've ever been bounced from a film, eh?
For Blade.
In my youth. Otherwise, I'd watch tons
Bad
of
Boys.
horror
Bad
movies
Boys.
and shit. Bad Boys, yeah.
Guys, I rifled through some photograph albums. There's one picture that's done the rounds, and I'm not going to reproduce it here. It was sort of me on Christmas Day with my brother and sister, both holding Stalker V2, the kayak Stalker, and Snake Eyes V3, the 3-sectional staff Snake Eyes. So I'm not going to bring up that because that is a tried. I mean, if you know GI Joburg well enough, you know the story. But those figures did not last long. Snake Eyes, I believe some kid must have walked off with because it's Snake Eyes. If there's one figure you're gonna dip into your pocket, it's gonna be the cool ninja in black. And Stalker, in spite of his exceptionally crisp white jacket, was chewed by the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Guess my dad just wasn't paying attention that day. I mean, I'm looking at the grass before me when I mow the lawn. I'm a grown up now, but I mean, he was a bit morose afterwards. He kind of handed me these shards of plastic that resembled my beloved action figure, and I actually kept them in like a little like Tupperware in a drawer, thinking one day maybe I will have the skill to
Put it back.
reconstruct
Wow.
this figure. But yeah, no, I eventually turfed that long
You
before I.
were-
That's nice. I would have been
Very
shut
before
out
I
for
got my
leaving it in the
super
garden in the first
super
place.
suit.
Like it was my
But
fault.
I'm gonna share. Sorry, Paul, I'm jumping all over you because
No worries, man.
I'm flowing here. This is a picture of me at the beach
Sarah Connor.
wearing some crappy plastic shades. However, they are GI Joe branded shades. There's a little GI Joe tricolor sticker right in the middle, and the arms each had stickers. So I was styling. That was the sort of. I'm guessing that was 1990. Yeah, at the beach,
Super
Christmas
styling.
time. And then here's a Christmas morning pic around about the same era. Oh man,
Try again. Thank you.
that's me holding
Yeah,
a
rockstar
tiger
pose.
paw.
Oh.
Look at your sister selling that tennis racket.
Yep. Anyway, horrific potato quality, courtesy of my terrible lighting and my bad webcam. But let me just describe it for the listeners then. I think that was the moment where G.I. Joe really landed for me because that was my first G.I. Joe vehicle, the Tiger Paw, which is the ferret in Tiger Force colors. And it was a playable model kit. Anyone who knows the ferret and knows the Tiger Paw and knows the Snake Tracks ATV, maybe not that one because you don't actually build it, like it was pre-assembled in the box. But anyone who knows that beautiful four-wheeler knows that it has rubber tires. It's got steerable front handlebars that connect to the machine gun. It's got removable missiles. It's got way more features than a toy that size has any business having. And yet it exists. And yet it is under this enormous umbrella of G.I. Joe, which has so much variety and so much stuff. I think that's really galvanized me at that moment. I mean, it's a very modest, subtle toy, but that was far more enticing than anything else I got that day. I got model kits. I got a little surfboard, like kiddie surfboard. But nothing spoke to me like that toy, which is funny because it didn't even come with a figure. And I don't think I've got a figure that Christmas, but just the vehicle itself was just so damn cool, solid and intricate. It required assembly and giving it to dad or big brother to put the stickers on. There was a lot of value to a G.I. Joe toy even before your imagination took hold and you went outside to play.
Oh, Centaur also loved that vehicle. Got it from 1986 as well. One of the few vehicles that I use frequently. So well designed. Yeah, absolutely. So a question for this Christmas. I mean, I don't think anyone's probably not opened it by now. But who's got on the HasLab his tank? Anyone on the podcast? Did you get it? No. Oh wait, you wouldn't have gotten it. Oh, you tried to get it. Wait a minute.
No, look. Anyone who knows me knows that 6-inch Joe is not my jam.
Yeah.
However, if I happen to see the Retro Scarlet when I get to Singapore next year, maybe I'll drop on that. But since she's already shown up in people's hands, I mean, there was one poster that Full Force podcast put on their feed that already has them and has already kind of put up a pictorial review. So it's not like I can break the news. I mean, typically, like if you are passing through Singapore for any reason, have a little look-see because they get stuff early, man. But yeah, no, I'm not going to be.
There's a new toy captain
there. But I mean, I'm curious if anyone did actually kind of save it for Christmas itself. Like that they,
or at least
like,
one of them,
literally just gotten it, but I could actually keep it and have it as a Christmas gift. That'd be kind of cool. Well,
shout out to Dr. Alan Grant, who's no doubt going to be listening to this eventually, maybe on the replay. My buddy in Brisbane who has a HasLab his tank and has just today my time, yesterday his time, shown me that he's cracking into it. So yeah, on the 23rd of December, a HasLab has tank.
A HasLab has tank
found its way into his grubby mitts.
Guys, sorry to bring up movies again. I'm so sorry, but on Amazon they had a film that I absolutely loved called The Last Boy Scout. Do you guys remember? I mean, not The Last Boy Scouts, Toy Soldiers. Do you guys remember that movie? Do you guys know that movie?
Small soldiers.
Small, no,
No.
toy soldiers.
Toy soldiers. Yeah, that's the one with the little action figures that could move on their own.
No, that's small soldiers. This one was
okay.
about a bunch of guys in a boarding school that gets taken over by a terrorist, and the
I've
misfits
heard
get
of it, but I
together.
don't think I've
And
watched.
very cool film, by the way. Very good. Some great performances there. I can never remember his name, but William Crusher, the actor. He's in that film. Will Wheaton is in that film. The guy who plays Gandalf, not Gandalf, the guy who plays Samwise, and he's also in the Goonies. What's his name again?
Sean Astin, yeah.
Yes, he's in it
for you.
He's the main character. It's a very cool film, and there's a great scene in that film, and it goes something like this. It's a gunship that appears in that film, and it's just so cool. When it rocks up, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's just like, and it goes, and it mows some dudes down. But it's fantastic. Anyway, I just had to relive this.
My brother, you're raising your lovely 25th anniversary tiger rat into frame for people listening to the podcast version. But we're going to get into new shit immediately because there's something occupying the pilot seat. What is in the pilot seat of that bad boy?
I'll show you now. We're going to go in for a close-up. Hold on. He's got to fly past now.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Oh, he's doing
the tiger rat sweeps past the camera. There we go. It is. Is that Tiger Force shipwreck? No, it's not. It's Marujo.
And we're not talking the anniversary or the club version. We're talking the real deal.
We're talking the real deal. Now, this is magic. This is Christmas magic that happened here. So I'm not gonna. I'm scared of calling out the name of the person who helped get this to me. But I do want them to know that I am super grateful for this, and I have sent them a message to say thank you already. But wow, I am beyond words. This is a figure, I'm sure long-time listeners will know that this is just a figure I've sort of reserved myself to just never having. I never thought I'd ever have. Yeah, resigned myself. Thank you. It's actually the word. I resigned myself to the fact that I would never have this figure, and that it's just like a, like one of those. It's cool that it exists and whatever. But here he is. He's in my hand now. What makes this figure even cooler for me, at least, and I'm very grateful for this. Please, this is not me trying to make anybody feel better. I love that this one has had a little bit of repro on it, like as in it's been fixed, it's been repaired, it's been restored, and I'm happy about that because it makes me feel so much better that the person who got this for me hopefully didn't break the bank account when they've got this figure, and they did tell me the whole story behind it. So yeah, it is really, really awesome to have this guy in my life, and it's very much a one-of-a-kind figure, and also something I never knew. Thank you, Moonlight. Moonlight says, congrats on finding one of your grails as well, Paul. Yeah, man, it's special. And I always, to this date, always thought his pants were black, but they're actually not. They're very dark green, which sort of comes across in the camera, but my lighting in this room has gone a little bit green. But yeah, it's amazing. I even love that some of the tiger camo is like rubbed off there on the forearm. This is fantastic. This is magic.
Dream come true.
Hell yeah.
This is the Estrella exclusive.
Yes, yeah, the Argentinian Commander in Acau.
That would be Brazilian.
Brazilian, yeah. It's one of the two. But yeah, Marujo.
I think we maintain our ignorance about international variations, particularly Latin America, because that stuff is very much off limits to us. Whereas European exclusives like Tiger Force Outback was something that we had a sampling of down here in South Africa. But all the way west, no, that stuff is we don't play in that sandbox. We haven't. So yeah, I'm thrilled that you discovered this figure, that you placed this figure on a pedestal, and now years later, someone has been able to do this, the ultimate solid.
It's absolute magic. In fact, this is the longest I've had it out of the container that it was shipped in. So pedantic about it, but at the same time,
the environment.
Yeah, well, but I mean, even the hook is still attached. Anyway, it's just beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know who you are. Thank you so much for this. It's magic. I'm honestly like, and as Steve said, this is just it is a Christmas miracle. It's just one of those. I mean, I didn't even know this stuff existed until the modern era, until they did the modern era version of him, as a collectors club exclusive, and then sort of went down the rabbit hole to see, oh my word, there's actually quite a lot of these very interesting figures. I think Tiger Force Airtight is one of them as well. But yeah, this is special for me. So thank you. This is a special Christmas moment. And sorry, just sort of, I know we're going back and forth, but also just to talk about Christmas moments. I mean, when I moved into this house, I got to say the Berg Force went above and beyond and sent some cool stuff to us, and I'm still super grateful for that stuff, and I still enjoy it and play with it as well. So thank you again for that. So please don't ever feel that like we don't appreciate
New
that.
toys
stuff.
make a
Super
new
cool.
space much better.
Yep, new toys do. Example given. Anyway, sorry, I completely derailed us because I was talking about toy soldiers and all that shit, and then I
Let's
messed up
talk
your
about Christmas lists. What, in your heart of hearts, gents, do you want Santa to put in your stocking 2023?
Wow.
You don't have to nail it down to specifics.
Maybe I'd say anything from 87.
Is there a focus that you have that you want? I mean, this is perhaps too late for Santa Claus to make any last minute Christmas miracles happen, but like, yeah, just give yourself a flight of fancy right here.
Okay, I'm sorry if this sounds like, I hope this doesn't make people cringe. Oh, I'm sure it's going to make people cringe, but I just want to start off by just saying I'm actually really grateful for everything I have got already. Like, and I know it might sound like chintzy and whatever, but I don't care. Like, I'm very grateful for what I have received. I feel like I've received a lot, and it's actually very difficult to think of something more because of all of that. That said, that said, to play the game, but also this is something that I would love to get one day. I really do want to get a Havoc, vintage Havoc, and even now after our catalog chat, I'm quite turned on by the Sky Havoc. So
the Havoc is definitely something one should own, I think.
I think they're very cool vehicles. I think they're very cool toys. And then I'm still thankfully, a member of the Berg Force has reached out, and I'm just saving up some money for it. But Serpentor and Mindbender, the classified versions of them, and the Trouble Bubble from that line, I would love to get one day as well.
Yeah, that's like the big ticket items from classified.
They
I can imagine they wouldn't be easy to get.
No, they aren't. And like I said, a fellow Berg Force member has given me a cool offer on them. Like I said, I'm just saving up some cash for them. But there's a lot to love about those toys, the toys themselves, but also the packaging art is done by a favorite artist of mine. And so there's just a lot of win for those things. Anyway, that's me. What say you guys?
I would just keep finishing 1989, I guess. I mean, I have to own DJ at some point.
I nearly put him in the thumbnail for this episode.
So yeah,
I didn't want to rub it in your face that you didn't have one, Rob. So
it just happened like that. Well, I mean, that's what it is. I think that's probably my current goal is attempting to get closer to finishing 89. It's really the only year that I feel like I want to finish, because obviously it's the year the Scoop came out. It would be nice, obviously, to have a lot of other figures and other vehicles. But I mean, a lot of the time, when I see Steven, I get access to all that stuff.
You've got a pulverizer in your future, bro.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I don't think the pulverizer is bad.
Whoa. Well, that's always the thing as well. You can have certain opinions about figures and vehicles, but when you eventually see them in person, it can change that opinion a lot, I think.
You guys absolutely shit-canned the pulverizer in our catalog tier list. If you're scratching your heads, we did a 3-part. Was it 3 parts? We basically went over the images, the photograph, the action figure and vehicle photography from our favorite catalog growing up.
Mm-hmm. And the figures in one, and then the vehicles, I think, was in 2 separate episodes.
Correct. And I think the pulverizer found its way all the way down into like the garbage heap tier, which is unfair, man. There are far worse vehicles out there. Anyway,
Well,
Right.
you know, it
There's
just so
another
happened to be Paul
polarizer.
didn't like it.
Somebody
So,
had to be the loser.
Yeah.
It's
For
the
me-
loser in that catalog. It's not a complete loser.
Yeah, it's not. It's not that it's an overall loser. It's
Not a
just loses in that
devastator.
one because everything else was, you know, everything brought us A game on that catalog.
Good point.
You know, unfortunately,
We've got some excitement in the comments generated
Whoa.
by the forthcoming GI Joe book, The Art of GI Joe
Oof.
book, which,
Shipping.
man, that must be a heavy tome.
I would
Yeah.
love it, but the shipping. Carson, I
Hmm.
don't know if you ever watched these episodes, but if you're watching this one and you're watching this specific moment, I would have so happily taken you up on that offer for all of those books
Doing
when
the
we
Lord's
spoke
work,
to each
huh?
other at JoeCon. I just couldn't put them in my bag. I just couldn't. I just knew that I would get flags because they're just too heavy.
Well, you were
love
smuggling
that.
an entire suitcase full of toys. I don't know how you did
Yeah,
it. Paul.
MCC.
Wow. Within this man's luggage was an MCC and a TTBP,
yeah.
Yep.
Mobile Command Center, and a transportable tactical battle platform.
And Rob and Steve stuff sort of slotted in between all of that.
But you had other vehicles as well. You had like a tiger fish and
Yeah, let's not discount the fact that we brought back an entire box. Of
Oh no,
GI Joe.
we that's the other thing. Again, you know, how could I think of getting more stuff if we already had so much? So it's just it's great.
Project Dark Core. Rob Kalupitan says, I'm also looking for a Sky Havoc 2. It was the first Joe vehicle my dad gave me for my birthday when I was young. It is impossible to find here in the Philippines, complete and undamaged. Yeah, not helped by the fact that like chrome is so easily blemished and scratched and made to look.
Yeah, so you're gonna
tacky.
struggle to find like a nice looking version.
Yeah, it's not made easy.
I've got a nice hack for that, by the way. So Steve, once upon a
Like
time
your
you got me
chrome
those
pen.
the
Just
chrome
covered it.
pens, yes. Which work quite well. Okay, I've managed to get them to work quite well. They look good on my Sky Shark for the few dots that I fixed up. However, recently, there's a Gundam Chrome marker, which should also be easily available for guys in America. It's the Gundam Shine marker or Shine Chrome marker. On its own as a marker, if you just put the paint on and whatever it's okay. It looks good. It can sort of rub off a little bit. But if you put that straight into an airbrush, for example, and you shoot it out, magic.
I was
I've never
about to
seen
ask how you apply. Are you removing the chrome in the affected area, or you just
No, just
doing
over
sort
it.
of like spot? You're just going over chrome
Just
over chrome,
it.
okay, and using the airbrush. And
Yeah.
your results with actually just pen onto plastic.
For small nicks and stuff, it's perfect. It's just that over time, because you handle it, it becomes matted. So the thing is, once again, you're never gonna get better than actually doing a vac forming it yourself with chrome, which is like extremely expensive to do as an individual, or vac metal, should I say? So the best for me, I like the airbrush. It's easy. Literally, you just decant some of the marker in the airbrush. You spray it on. It's good. You're gonna mess it up a little bit. Maybe get some rubbing alcohol, wipe off what looks messed up, and spray it again. You know, if you're gonna keep it on your shelf forever, spray it once. It should be fine. Yeah.
Right on.
And it levels nicely. Yeah. Sorry, little pro tip, whatever.
Buddy, I love to hear it. Rob and I are noobs, but I'm sure.
No, for sure. I'm sure people appreciate the knowledge out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Follow Gunplay SA, where Paul
Yes.
drops all his customizing hints and tips. Just a Gundam setting.
Yeah, the more you know, you know.
The
Dun,
less you
dun,
know.
dun, dun.
Guys, should we talk about a comic book or a cartoon first?
Ooh.
Let's get
I'm
stuck
so
into-
easy on this. I'll leave it to you, gents, to decide because you're both in the
Okay.
same room.
Well, we're gonna have to speak at length about the cartoon, because I didn't bring down any visual aids. I've been absolutely slammed.
It's Christmas
It's
season.
crazy.
You're here, you have family. There's a lot of things pulling you in many directions. At the core, GI Joburg is a podcast. So I think people won't really mind us, talking more about something that we need to.
It's also a village.
So let's talk about Cobra Claws Are Coming to Town, episode 39 of the
Ooh.
Sunbow series. My word, I didn't know if this was so much a Christmas episode as it was just like a scheme of the week or scheme of the day kind of episode. However, there's one moment of pathos which I absolutely adored, which they gave to Mutt, who said that he never felt so great around the holidays because his parents didn't make time for him.
But there he is.
There he
sitting
is.
around at a base.
On base, not exactly making time for his family. Or maybe he doesn't have any family.
It could
Maybe
be.
Junkyard is it.
Well, before we go any further, thank you, Blue Libra, for joining us live. And Merry Christmas to you. And yeah, all the best for the rest of the season to you and your family.
Berg.
At least he's making time. He's not like Mutt. He's actually going to make time for his family.
It's like Matt's family.
Heck
So the episode opens with Covergirl and Shipwreck in his like blue overcoat, very cool
very
winter
nice.
winter gear. They are bringing toys, like donations, onto the base, I guess, to do a kind of a gift donation drive.
Yeah, they've collected a lot of toys. You'll see very soon after this little sequence. They've collected an absolute ton of toys that they're just like dumping out into like a giant empty space inside the GI Joe HQ.
No idea how that's supposed to get to kids, but anyway, that's not what you're supposed to concentrate on. What you are supposed to concentrate on is the fact that a Rattler, piloted by the very one and only Wild Weasel, starts chasing them and
very
firing them.
half-heartedly firing at them, which we'll find out that very soon.
They take
He
cover.
could have given less of a shit.
and
He could have given less than a doodle.
Cave wall opens to this canyon and out springs Firefly, unbeknownst to the Joes, who then plants some.
Who dumps a bunch of extra toys into their wagon. I suppose he wants to help the kids out too. That's really nice of him, actually.
They get back to base and it's Christmas time.
Whoa,
Roadblock
Christmas.
has a roast turkey.
Yeah.
Duke's about to carve it up.
Who wants the leg? Of course you do, Mutt. Junkyard.
Junkyard. I know, it's confusing. Yeah, festive times all around. They've got a laser shield to protect the base while they all tuck into their Christmas victuals.
Yes, and the base is understaffed because obviously everyone's gone home. Most people have gone home for Christmas.
The non-named characters, the green shirts, have gone home for Christmas, leaving only our core.
Yeah, and this is when Mutt kind of leaves the party and he's like, oh, Christmas is the worst. Oh, I don't like Christmas, bar humbug. Let me go look at
I
the
appreciate
toy.
that. I appreciate that moment in the thing though. It's cool that we have a character that's like not bar humbug per se. He's just like I feel down, and his dog is the best.
It's nice. It covers not just people who are obviously like completely brought up and happy about Christmas, but there's a spectrum of like what people's reactions are to Christmas, and it feels more realistic that you have at least one person on the team who's like, Christmas just was never exciting for me, unfortunately. But the excitement's really going to get him now because he takes an interest in the toys that are hanging around that the Joes are collected, and one of them is a horse, a little rocking horse,
creepy,
with
glowing eyes.
Glowing eyes, and suddenly it blows up, and these tiny little what I thought were action figures like all start to come out, and there's this whole group of action figures that burst out of a ton of toys. There's snakes, there's vehicles. And little toy versions of Major Blood and Baroness, and all of them start attacking Mutt as he's kind of like, oh goodness. And it's at this point that Steven's like, nah, they're not really toys, dude. Those are the actual people.
Rob fell into the episode's trap. I mean, obviously I've seen the episode before, so I knew the MacGuffin is a shrink ray. Basically, they've smuggled Cobra agents into GI Joe HQ.
Cool.
A biological enlarging, delarging razor machine.
Destro has an overly complicated name for his
worst name for
invention.
a thing ever.
He doesn't. Yeah, he's the
Absolutely.
worst with naming stuff.
Hello.
My nephew's just entered the fray. Hello, Casper. Do you want to say hi?
Hello. We're talking to people across the
Apparently
world.
not.
Oh,
Yes.
he's getting closer.
Yes.
He's bringing this
Oh.
festive
On his
cheer
way.
to folks in listener land. Come a
Whoa.
little closer, boy.
Ooh.
He's got his Christmas hat on.
Hey.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hey,
welcome
buddy.
to Christmas. That's cool.
Santa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Early.
Santa and
2 days
training.
early for Christmas.
I'll accept.
Well, yeah.
Where's
I
my
think
present,
the earlier
Santa?
we get
You got anything for me?
No.
Hey, hey.
Ah,
Yeah. What you got?
excellent.
What you got? Got me some toys, please? Please, Santa. I've been good.
He has been good. Well, he tells us he's been good.
Good or good
Yeah.
at it.
Good at it,
What's up,
indeed.
buddy?
Pardon me.
Story time?
Yeah.
Story
Well,
time.
you've come to the right place. We're talking
Heck
about a
yeah.
comic book and a cartoon.
Talking about a
series.
cartoon.
I think so.
So the inevitable battle ensues, and Cobra
Get enlarged
yeah,
by
Firefly
Firefly.
scales. Firstly, Baroness in a rattler shoots out the controls for the laser shield, which allows Firefly to scale the wall to the HQ and fire the embiggening ray,
Yes.
whatever, at all the Cobra agents. And some of them are riding like actual toys.
Yeah.
I found that to be a bit out of sorts. Like some of them are in rattlers and stingers and whatnot, but some of them are in like toy cars. Like, so are those practical toy vehicles that they can?
Well, did they? I don't think they. No, they got enlarged as the rest of the battle went on. So yeah, I think they were very practical toys.
Yeah, man. So the battle does not go G.I. Joe's way. They will
Yeah.
get imprisoned. Well, everyone except Duke get
Well,
put
no,
into a
they-
meat locker.
Yeah, all together they go into a meat locker, and it's a very interesting sequence where Shockwave manages to
Shipwreck.
Shipwreck manages to
Shipwreck.
kind of like get out of the situation he is by kind of like manhandling the meat next to him. He kind of like mounts it, and he kind of like manages to like swing his way off it with the help of his meat. And then he has to kind of like put himself back onto the hook.
Because
It's
Cobra
like,
Commander
okay,
comes
this
through the
Cobra
door.
Commander comes through and is like, you will never escape, but I will leave this key for you as a Christmas present in case you're able to get to it. But you won't be able to because you're all
'Cause
hung
that
up
never
here.
happens.
We've
Now
been
you'll never-
manhandling my meat.
But they managed to escape because Cobra Commander helps them
Think
to escape.
so.
Yeah, exactly. They get out.
Guys,
Absolutely ridiculous.
do you think like the force field costs like a lot of money? Do you think that's why they only like let it rock on Christmas Day? Like it probably costs the government a lot of money to rock the force field.
Absolutely.
Because I mean,
It'll
why don't
probably
they just have it on every other day
cost
then?
an hour to run that thing.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Like they don't turn it on because that's when the grid goes dark. So
Yeah.
too bad to all the other people in what is it? Keystone City,
Keystone City.
which is the nearest sort of major metropole. To the-
33 miles away, by the way.
Anyway, so they must be having rolling blackouts thanks to G.I. Joe's power consumption.
We've got to keep those toys safe.
Damn right, man.
So what happens? Cobra tear off on G.I. Joe's vehicles. They take Maulers, they take Skyhawks, they take Sky Strikers, and they're going to go and waste Keystone City.
Because that's part of their plan, is that they kind of like get Zartan to pose as Duke to kind of say, hey, we don't like Americans anymore. We're going to go and attack Keystone City. And then this forces the Joes to escape with the use of the Cobra vehicle. So
Presenting my niece.
G.I. Joe,
This is Elka.
niece and nephew, we're all here tonight.
Got the full house. Where's my
Oh,
boy?
yeah.
Whoa, he's probably sleeping.
He's sleeping.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
Can
fast
put him
asleep.
down.
Oh, he put him down. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We get those sleeping pills in.
Ah, okay,
That's
fantastic.
Jeez. Help me, this is live to the public.
Kill me.
So then the rest of the episode is a fantastic action sequences of Joes in Cobra vehicles versus Cobras in Joe vehicles,
What an absolute highlight.
which I think we haven't seen before in the show. Maybe there's like one or two instances of someone getting into a single vehicle.
Yeah,
from
typically
the
it's like
enemy.
if G.I. Joe's escaping from a Cobra stronghold, they'll grab a moccasin or they'll grab a his tank or they'll grab a Cobra
Yeah.
glider or
But
a
here it's
rattler.
all of them versus everyone else. In the
And what's
opposite
even
opposing
cooler, they
forces.
pair up vehicle specialties. Like Covergirl is in the Tank Buster, the
Mhm.
Rattler, and
Mhm.
she's blowing up G.I. Joe Maulers. Wild Bill is in a Fang, and he's shooting up his own Dragonfly, which
Yeah.
he's like, I feel like
So
I just
upset
shot my own horse. Great stuff. That is
Well,
probably my
technically, he
favorite
did.
favorite moment in the episode.
Mm.
Yeah. Just this contrast of like G.I. Joe, they know the weaknesses of their own equipment, of course. So they
But
know
you'd
how
think
to
that the
assign.
Cobras would know the weakness of their vehicles too. I mean, there should be no advantage on either side, but some of the Joes are supposed to take more advantage of that to be able to take out the Cobras.
Paul, I'm curious.
Mm.
In the arms race of G.I. Joe and Cobra, whose equipment is more? Who has the more technological, technologically advanced equipment? In your opinion,
I want to say Cobra, because I find a lot of the times, I'll say for the most part across the board, it's mostly Cobra. I feel, but GI Joe does have like one or two standouts, like the X19, for example, and the Sky Striker. They're pretty like advanced, actually. I mean, the Sky Striker doesn't look good, but I mean, what's under the hood is pretty advanced.
I think
but
you
yeah,
agree
just
with me, Rob.
I do actually. I think I would say, because also, I mean, yes, I think Stephen, what you're going to say is actually also what necessarily applies to the GI Joes, is that who's making their stuff is down to the cheapest contractor, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
While with the Cobras, they
lowest bidder.
have, yes, they're criminals and they have to pay someone to make the stuff, but it's Destra often that is making the stuff for them. So he has sort of a vested interest in creating sort of the best possible weapons he can for them to use.
I'd say Destra's more concerned with his MacGuffins, and like the stuff that the rank and file Cobra Trooper gets is pretty basic, rudimentary, and quick to produce. That's why it's got that kind of cannon foddery feel. Like a Fang is not a superior helicopter to a Dragonfly, but you probably got like a dozen Fangs going up against a flight of 2 Dragonflies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to just remark on the Spoon Killer. Sky Striker doesn't look good. Sorry, man, if it came out that way. I meant it as it doesn't look like it's technologically advanced or anything. Sky Striker looks amazing. That's a sexy bird. We love that. We love that jet. But just before there's any like controversy. And
that brings me to something that I neglected to mention. But I mean, I asked you guys what you hope is in your stocking for Christmas.
Never told us yours.
I'm hoping.
I already have one.
I have
the original.
Well, you know it, Elka. Like I have a Sky Striker jet that's in the UK, which I've longed for a long time now. I bought it on eBay UK because, I mean, if I send it to my brother's house, it costs next to nothing. Yeah. And also, like, Action Force toys on eBay UK, you could suddenly get incredible deals, like unheard of deals. People just don't know what they've got, man. So I have an Action Force Sky Striker, which I spent maybe a whole, I don't know, 30 quid on. And
it's like nothing.
That's so cheap.
And it's beautiful condition. You've inspected it. I have not.
Like I expected.
Oh, yes, you did. She sent me videos of very creakily opening that canopy, and I'm like, oh, please don't wiggle it too much. It'll snap.
I'm sure she did a very good job.
Yes, you did an admirable job there, Al.
Admiral's done.
So, guys, I'm going to wrap this episode up in a nice bow and say I'm going to give it a generous, festive 5 out of 5.
Wow.
I couldn't have anything better. Oh, we didn't mention the conclusion.
4.5 giant.
You didn't mention the parrot.
Giant Polly. I was a little bit disturbed when they shrink Polly, almost squash it, like Wild Bill's going to swat Polly like a fly. Freaked me out.
Yeah, that was.
Then they managed to increase the size of Polly back to normal, and like Polly's so wasted from the process that they lay this Polly down on like a miniaturized bench.
So sad.
And I'm like, that's awful. I hate seeing animals in peril. There's a point where like Junkyard is in a corner shivering inside the fridge, like where the Joes are being interred.
Yeah. They didn't they didn't do anything with him. They just kind of put him in there, and the cold was actually what kind of subdued him.
Ouch.
Yeah, no, that's
MCDJ ACDC gives it a very
3.5
modest score of 3.5 stars.
Well, that's still above average. I mean, I think. Well,
But
there we go.
Rob Kaluptan fires back with a 5 out of 5 too.
I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh yeah.
I think overall it's a very good episode.
Cassie, don't pick
Also, Duke's shenanigans with Cover Girl.
Dude, Duke is schmoozing Cover Girl at the end of this episode, which is, I mean, when Scarlett's away, that dog gonna play.
Duke will play.
Yo.
4.5 Duke shenanigans for me for this episode. I love this episode.
Very good. And thus ends Cobra Claws are coming to town. If you haven't seen it, scroll down to the comments, or not the comments, the description for this YouTube video. I have a link to the YouTube video. And yeah, man, crack a Frosty, get a mince pie, whatever your Christmas victual is. Like, it's a fun romp.
What's
it's
a Frosty,
the cartoon
Steve?
series at its best for me.
Heck yeah.
Is that a beer?
Comic book time, guys. It's the Pipeline Ploy, issue number 11.
Wow.
Indeed.
Fantastic.
What do we think of the
cover
cover
as well? Yeah, I love this cover.
Yeah.
Yes, there is, because it's a Marvel
Yes,
Comics.
there was.
Direct
Let's
run.
see what we got here. 12.
It's a very good cover. I mean,
yeah, it's sick.
and it is representative of a moment that happens inside the issue as well, which I think doesn't often happen.
Nope.
And it's cool when that does happen. It's very well done.
It's also like
Pipeline
that's the
Ploy.
key scene for me for that toy as well.
Oh yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, I love having Snow Job and Doc on the battle bear. I think it's rad moment. Anyway, carry on, Steve. You were giving us the
Oh yeah. Well, the creatives on this book: Larry Harmer once again with script. Mike Vosberg's back from issue 10, and he's got a lot to do on this issue. Wow. John D'Agostino is the inker, Rick Parker letters, Christy Shield is the colorist, Danny O'Neill is the editor, and Jim Shooter, legend editor-in-chief, and 14th member of the GI Joe team. All right. So we open with Wild Bill flying what they call a slick. I mean, it's definitely illustrated to be a Huey, Iroquois, whatever.
Iroquois.
That one. The Vietnam War classic, ubiquitous helicopter. A few of them were actually doing some water bombing for some fires up on the mountain while up. I mean, crazy days, guys. We were swimming in Fisher Beach. Beautiful day, but like Mount Vesuvius going off behind us, like this huge pall of smoke. It looked like a volcano behind us.
But I mean, the lighting was amazing. Like the whole sky was just orange.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that I love that, Alka. Thank you. The lighting was amazing. That makes me I love that.
Guys, I can't even begin to give a blow by blow of the events of this issue.
It's dense, and also I think it's because
overly
they have to
complex.
go they're in one place, and then the Cobras leave, and then they have to go get them at the second place. But then there's also a third place they need to go to, and I think that's also why he kind of simplified. It was like there's Pump Station 1, Pump Station 2, something else is happening at Pump Station 3. So it's a very dense issue, and a lot of stuff really does happen. But it's kind of cool because you get to see new characters coming in, and there's kind of like a running joke with between
Gung-Ho and
Snow Job, yeah.
Well, rock and
roll, yeah. So rock and roll and Snow Job actually, but to do with Gung-Ho and Gung-Ho's sister.
This is the introduction of. Let me see if I can get this right. Wild Bill, Doc, Airborne, Snow Job, Gung-Ho. I'm stalling. Not sure.
Gung-Ho, Doc. Yeah, yep. Airborne. I think that's everyone. Yeah.
Gung-Ho, Doc, Airborne, Wild Bill.
If I said Wild Bill, hopefully. But yeah, so they think that Gung-Ho is a bit of a blowhard. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining
us.
us.
We're going to bed.
Join us for another episode soon. Heck yeah.
And so the running gag is that Gung-Ho is this blowhard Marine, and roadblock. Rock and roll doesn't quite get along with him.
Well, I think Gung-Ho is just doing his job.
He's brash,
and it's kind of like the classic, the Army versus Marines. It's just that kind of like, I don't like him because he's a Marine. But then Snow Job kind of is like, he seems kind of okay to me, and his sister is quite nice. She's a model.
I love Snow Job so much. I love this. One of the things about this issue I did quite a bit is the introduction of Snow Job and Doc into the mythos, into the world of GI Joe.
Rob and I were reading this afternoon, and it occurred to me that of all the newcomers, Snow Job seems to be in country a little bit longer than anyone else.
Yeah, he's been around a little bit more.
he already has a handle on who Snake Eyes is, and like, don't touch the mask. Like, there's a moment that it plays out with Doc, and then Airborne is about to do it as well, and Snowdrop's like, you don't want to do that. So he's got insider knowledge on Snake Eyes. He's also got insider knowledge, obviously, on Gung Ho. So, I mean, either he's just a very quick study and good judge of character, or he has been well acquainted with his teammates. So he's able to pull this long con on Rock and Roll. Jokes on Rock, like, Gung Ho's sister is a model, but she's a child model.
And Doc I think elucidates the rest of the story. Like, he's going to keep getting you. He's going to ask you for money for this thing, and eventually you'll get to meet her. And it would have been like a really hilarious meeting, and everyone probably would have taken pictures and be like, being on his case for the rest of his military career.
Say hello to your new friend, the FBI.
Someone's
like 9-year-old sister.
Well, he just left out one certain detail. It's just like, but yeah, I mean, thankfully, they didn't take it too far. But I mean, it feels like it's cool to kind of just have it in there because it's a serious mission, like serious shit is going down. But there is kind of like, even within the seriousness, there is humor that these guys kind of do have, Like
there's a rapport.
Guys, I missed one key new.
Well, he's not a GI Joe character. He's not GI Joe.
His butt is occupying the screen right now because we don't get to see his face. None other than he's the evil not master of disguise. He's the evil arms dealer. It's Destro.
Butro.
The debut of Destro.
Not Butro.
We didn't get his name in the issue.
They call him the Specialist.
Yes.
And it's clear that Baroness has a past with him. A lot of lovely open-ended questions are asked by this issue. So while the plot itself and the action is extremely convoluted, and I feel like almost there needs to be a mission map accompanying this, like a fold-out, like separatable like map that you can kind of lay alongside to see route of his tank, route of the Specialist, pipeline, Station 1,
it's
Station
a lot
2,
to cover.
nuclear power plant.
There really is a lot to cover. But I think as you go along, it's still kind of knowing which characters are where. It does help. But I think definitely reading this more than once, I mean, you will still get a lot out of it.
But yes, if nothing else, this serves as a solid introduction for a handful of Joes and a very key member of the Cobra team who is posited as a Cobra agent or Cobra specialist. He doesn't have his own agenda, and having his own team, as it were, faction, is still a long way away. He's rubbing shoulders with blue shirts. He's driving in his tanks.
I think it's probably very early days in the knowledge of who this character was within GI Joe, and you might not even have written the file card for the character yet. He was just given like the visuals of like, hey, here's this guy, this is what he looks like, throw him into the next issue you possibly can, so we can kind of like sell this toy. And he only kind of came up with the concept of who he is later on.
Well, Destro, Doc, Airborne are 84 figures. So this could have been how they won. So the figures could have been out already by the time.
1983 figures, Paul.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 82 and then 83 was when they introduced them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I mean, then they should have known. He should have had a generally good idea of who he is, because this kind of feels disconnected from the kind of like the way we know who Destro is later on. It feels like Larry didn't have he has a certain like mysteriousness about this character that is not in line with who Destro actually is. An arms dealer, kind of the guy who provides the equipment to Cobra.
Well, they set it up in the issue. They put a very fine point on how Destro is positioned at this point in the GI Joe canon, and that's Cobra Commander says, if I am the equivalent of GI Joe's General Hawk or General Flag, then Destro is the equivalent of Hawk, who was the colonel at the time and very much a field operative, in spite of being of like a very high rank. So Destro is very much a field commander. Guy gets his hands dirty. And boy, does he ever. Yeah. Lovely little plot contrivance. At one point, like, he could pretty much end the story by firing a wrist rocket at the GI Joe helicopter. But Larry writes in a beautiful backdoor for himself, and the wrist rocket just kind of goes blast or done. So the first tech is not flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is where your whole theory about like the cheapest stuff does really go to the guys on the front lines in Cobra.
Yeah, even their field commander. I don't know. As I say, it's if you zoom out and do the kind of the meta examination of it, like in order for the plot to continue, they needed that helicopter to survive. So just like when we used to play with our toys, Rob, sometimes you had to pause the game, rationalize, say, guys,
I remember the contrivance, like why did this happen the way well, because the story has to keep going. It's like he has 2 rockets. Unfortunately, there are only 2. There are three vehicles. Destro has to use one of them, and the other 2 have to be destroyed. Well, he would have to because he has 2 missiles, but the characters have to follow after him, or at least they have to be able to wrap up the story in the next couple of pages. So they need that vehicle to still be alive. So why doesn't it work? Oh, it did.
Wild Bill gets a time to shine that doesn't involve flying a helicopter, which is awesome. I kind of wished that that we saw this happen at least a handful more times in the classic comic book run. He gets to do some gunfighting. There are 3 Cobra agents at one of the pumping stations. They pull out revolvers and actually open fire on Wild Bill, but he guns them down in quick succession, kind of off panel. But
it's beautiful though, because you get the focus of what he's doing. So they're like, "Ha! You're both dead men. We've already beaten you to the draw. There'll be the day." Bam, bam, bam. So they get off like 1 shot, but he in the same space of time he gets off 3.
Gunfighter style, fanning the hammer on his, I don't know, Smith & Wesson, Colt, whatever that is.
Oh, that's an army. Yeah, I don't know what.
Single action army. Yeah, someone's played Metal Gear Solid too many times.
That's his gun.
And what do you think of the way Mike Vosberg illustrates Wild Bill? Because it's pretty off model. He's not wearing glasses. His moustache looks more in line with Gung Ho's, to be honest. It's not that kind of cookie dust.
Oh my word, is that meant to be Wild Bill? Because that always I always registered that as Gung Ho. Even when they were chatting, I'm like,
that dog thing,
you know?
Gung Ho's rocking a sort of a handlebar moustache, and so is Wild Bill.
Yeah.
I like the way Wild Bill is illustrated. He's in sort of dark blue overalls, could be black, but that's just the colorist
Actually,
trick.
what gun does Wild Bill use? I'm curious now. I'm sure it's...
He's got like knee-high boots.
And I mean, Destro comes across as exceptionally, like, he comes into the situation, he takes complete control, and he knows where he wants to go, because he comes up with a contrivance of like, oh, they've been exposed to a virus. And that kind of like really hampers the way that GI Joe has to approach the rest of the mission. It kind of, it directs their focus in a different direction from what he's trying to achieve through the mission. And it's kind of cool that he does come across as exceptionally competent. And it's a fantastic introduction to the character of Destro.
What do we think of Airborne's introduction?
I actually thought that was very cheesy, personally.
Nice. Let's have it, Paul.
Yeah, I just thought it was very cheesy. It was like, hey kids, Airborne, now available in stores nationwide. And it's even got his freaking name, I think it's written on his head.
Yeah, it is actually.
Like,
it's
come now.
That they posit him as the glider pilot, but like if you bought a glider, you're not going to get the Airborne figure. You're going to get a retread of Grunt.
Yeah, sorry, I almost said Starduster because I was thinking of. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, it does bug me. Like, that whole introduction bugs me. The introduction to his character that I do like is when somebody asks him his name and he says, like, you know, I'm tall tree, blah, blah, whatever it is. And he goes, you Indian? He's like, no, I'm Native American. And I love that. That was cool.
Quite progressive for 1983.
Yep, that's why I like it so
Indian
much.
was a dirty word even back then. call
Yep.
us Native American.
It probably was
So I
almost
really
always
dig that.
a dirty word to Native Americans themselves, because it's completely inaccurate as to who they are.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more ironic that on an episode of The Next Generation, Star Trek, a show that is touted as being progressive and quite liberal, like there was an episode in the 90s, I think it was in the last season, and I watched it not too long ago, where there were, sort of a group of indigenous Americans had been relocated to another planet. And they kept calling them Indians in the show. And I'm like, wow, Roddenberry? Thought you were all enlightened and shit.
Coming back to Wild Bull quickly, according to the file card, prefers a single action 45 long Colt revolver. Yeah.
Hitting us with the
Colt
facts.
single action army. Hell yeah. Sorry, I just had to Steven there for a second. I could have done it with 83, 84. Damn it. So I had to at least do something right.
What's in a year? I mean, this comic book came out in May of 1983. It's entirely possible that like the distribution of Destro action figures hadn't been widespread by then.
Possibly,
like it's still blisteringly early in the year to have all of those figures show up at retail. Or maybe it happened as quick as clockwork back in the 80s. Like it's a new year, it's a new series of GI Joes hitting shelves. I don't know when this stuff came to markets. There's
probably a lot of logistics behind trying to get everything to line up, where like we need you to write an issue that'll come out before these specific characters released. So they kind of send him, the early look at the character designs, their general idea of like, where he fits into the structure. And you have to come up with that comic book, and they have to make sure that that comic book is released to time with the release of the figures themselves. Because that we all know, yes, this was all advertising in the end, really, for the toys themselves. So
definitely, let's not get jaded about that. But
yeah, no, for sure. But he did his absolute best to kind of like get these issues to kind of like link in with what they were trying to do as they were releasing the toys.
Which brings me to my first
vehicles as well. Battle Bear, his tank, and the gliders.
Which brings me to my first criticism of this book. It's a very much a commercial tool, because the Falcon has actually got the word Falcon. On screen right now is the Falcon on the page in the panel, and it's got the word Falcon written on the side of it. It's an identifier. They use the word, they use the word Battle Bear quite a bit. They also made quite a fuss of showing its silhouette. They even have a shot of it being driven or being ridden in the comic book that's very reminiscent of the box art from the release of the figure of the vehicle in stores. Not that shot. It's another one. It's a little bit more angled, but yes, pretty much that's what they're doing. Like, I know it's like, but Paul, how else are you going to show them doing stuff? And I'm like, yeah, totally. But it's just that they like, okay, that's a big key frame.
In this issue, it's more obvious than a lot of other issues that this is a vehicle for selling toys.
How dare they?
Yes.
How dare they?
No, well,
put advertising in my funny book.
Well, but I'm being
facetious.
Yeah, I know, of course, but it's for him. It feels more obvious, like, than ever before. That like that it really is. It's just there to sell toys more than it is to create an interesting story to support your thinking of how you play with the toys. And I think that that does come across. I wouldn't say it's heavy-handed, because he kind of does weave them in there in a fairly good way. But I think even, as we've discussed this issue, we did say it's a very convoluted story. It should be very straightforward on paper, but like for him to be able to shovel all these toys into there, he had to make it more complicated, or at least explain it in a way after the fact. Was very difficult for him to kind of get it out as a story.
Yeah. And Rob, I think you mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of moving parts that go into releasing stuff like this, and so I think this specific comic book probably did come out as the toys hit the shelves. So within the first week or within the same week, and I think Hasbro and Marvel worked very closely together to make this happen, and they timed it that way. I've got a feeling that was the case because of all of the branding in the comic book. It kind of felt like, the executives from a marketing point of view were like, We're gonna have this book out there. We're gonna get the kids like hungry and or wet for this stuff, and it's gonna be on the toy shelves in the same week as that. That's the plan. That's the two-pronged approach here. It's like boom, boom, you know. And I think it took a lot of effort for them to make it work, because this is a another criticism. You mentioned the how convoluted the story is, and I agree. I also just feel like the criticism I have is this is a very wordy comic book. Like, I don't have a problem reading lots and lots and lots of dialogue. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel that it's very wordy for a lot of what's going on. It's like,
wordy
we got to
about
stop them before they got to do this, because they're going to do this, and then they're going to do this, and it's like,
nuts and bolts of the story. It's like,
Yeah.
yes,
we need to stop the pipeline at this juncture before the plague toxin gets put on the radioactive cart and sent down to pumping station number 3. But there's a lot of nuts and bolts technical stuff, which is
too many
dense.
spotlights on too many characters. How do we make Destro cool? How do we make Doc cool? How do we make Snowjob cool? How do we make Airborne cool? Oh, yeah, we slap him on the glide
do
and
that
make him talk a
without being
lot.
quite as wordy a script.
Mm.
But I will say this much, and it probably was something that he hadn't realized at the time, because he's a writer. He's not playing with his action figures at this moment. I mean, maybe Larry was. Maybe he had all the toys in front of him and he was like, okay, how do I play this out? But there's something wonderfully convoluted about a child's GI Joe game.
Mm.
Yeah.
It would kind of
Right.
just spin into this crazy chase of like, we need to stop the bad guys here from poisoning the well, and stop this bomb from going off at the other location. So we need to steal the transport and get over there quick. Like, and there are enormous time lapses as well. We have to like, okay, this is going to take 4 hours, so time compress 4 hours later. There's a great moment, like we start with Destro getting off in his plane, and it's going to take him 3 hours to get there at Mach 2. And the very next panel, it's Snowjob scoping out the Cobras, and it says 4 hours later. So you know that Destro has made it, has parachuted into the area of operation, briefed his men, and things have happened. The needle has moved forward considerably from when we last were checking in with the events. So I felt enormously nostalgic about the way I would play with toys reading this issue, because it is, I mean, the details don't matter almost. You just need this constant propelling of one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. There's a lot that happens in this issue. And I said it earlier, but Mike Fosberg is an absolute champ for coming in onto the scene as early as he did, and in his very next issue, having to illustrate vehicles, new personnel, like a setting like this, buildings.
And it's a sort of convoluted story, and making it hopefully make sense to a certain degree.
So I'm going to, I never liked this issue. It's something that I read long after my pangs for like an issue that is just selling me toys had subsided. Like as a kid, this would blow my brain. As an adult, slightly less so, because I see that it's dense, it's hard to read. I want to love it, but you said it, Paul. A lot of words. So I'm going to be
Many
basic bitch and say this is a sort of a 3 out of 5 Jubs.
Wow. 3 out of 5 Jubs.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna echo Stephen. It's also it's 3 snow jobs out of 5 for me. I wanted to love this because I love Snowjob. It's his introduction into the line. I love Destro. It's his introduction into the story in a lot of ways. It's just, and if it just, I don't, it's just too much. I don't enjoy it either. When we got this as a homework assignment for this episode, yeah, I know I'm running out of words. I'm running out of airtime. But when we got this as a homework assignment, I was like, this issue.
Why did you do this to me?
Yeah, I think overall it's fun, but as a it does take, I think, maybe more than one reading to kind of just like get what's going on.
I agree with Jimmy.
There are a lot of other issues where things are very complicated, but he's managed to kind of break it down in a way that it is very easy to understand and follow. And I think for some reason he just couldn't manage to get it to work on this one. There's just too much, I think, that people were pushing for him to get into it, to make to make it work.
And we've got Bob
Also,
Hoskins
lots
over
of
here in this panel.
dialogue, and there's lots of implied stuff, which is more interesting. I think would be more interesting, I think, on a second reading, when you kind of realize, yes, the guys they are talking to are not innocent people that work at this pump station. These are Cobras. So I think you could read this more than once and have it be more interesting and follow along better. But yeah, I think it's a middle of the road issue on average. Yeah, so I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 too.
I love what Jimmy had to say here. And also, how the Jimmy Special Missions issue 20 was a much better, slicker, snow-based tale. I agree with you on that. That's a much cooler way. Like, that's what makes Snow Job
we have
Snow
to wait
Job for me.
a whole year for us to talk about that one.
Well, I don't know. I think we can make special consignments for special missions.
Whoa,
Steve?
special mission consignments.
But
well, I like that people enjoyed it. MC Andrew gave it 4.5 stars. That's fantastic.
It's just like Andrew.
Spoon Killer, also 3.5 stars, a little bit more than we liked it. And hi to everyone who joined us in the last couple of minutes. Alan Grant joined us. A couple of people on Facebook joined us. Sorry, some people are struggling with the sound on Facebook. I hope you enjoy watching this in the replay. And congrats on getting your hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy it. That's it's always nice to hear somebody dig that. I always take it as a personal pat on the back because it's my art. So I always like it when you guys get excited about it.
Your art, my man. It's amazing that people appreciate it. Hopefully, the members of GI Joburg will appreciate it one day when we decide to buy our own merch.
When we can actually have it sent to us. Yeah, exactly. Because So anyway, using MCDJ ACDC is like using government names now, huh?
Take your name a lot of times.
Guys, sorry, just to Alan Grant, I always feel bad because I always single you out, but I think you would be such a cool guy to have a beer with, just because look at him. He's got an R33 in his profile pic.
Oh, hell.
I mean, the guy likes dinosaurs. He likes Transformers. He likes Skylines. I feel like we have a lot to speak about. I don't know. Anyway, I just thankful. And also just while we're on the avatar check thing
has that his tank at his fingertips.
Whoa.
Yep. And Jimmy, I love your avatar that you've been rocking recently, bro. Sorry, I know it's such a small thing, but I think it's so good. Is that one of Bill's artworks? Because it's awesome. I'm just saying. Anyway, enough.
If you are listening, give us a star rating for the HasLab his tank. Just the vehicle. Let's not get into the Mickey Mouse, Cobra Commander, etc. And yeah, anyone who is actually in the live chats who has become acquainted with the HasLab, give us your honest review. Keep it brief or take to the keyboard, but yeah, let's
go for it. In the comments, actually, that would be great, because then it's there forever.
Well, the few that I've seen on Instagram, I think most people seem to be very pleased with it. I haven't seen much like people vehemently going I think this is the worst thing ever. Most people seem very, very happy with it, which I think is quite cool, especially after, I suppose, people having, I suppose it wasn't mixed reactions to the HasLab Sky Striker, but there are more opinions I think I've seen, that across the board when it comes to the Sky Striker than I have on the Hist.
There are definitely far fewer complaints. I'll say that much. I haven't seen internet things going up oh my god, the Hist tank is hollow. People are actually more pissed off about Hasbro firing as many people as they did to improve the look of their bottom line than they did.
Which is crazy, because then they fire
that is disgusting.
People, but then they start raising money by bringing things out of what the HasLab vault for their children's hospital. So it's fascinating that they kind of get rid of a bunch of employees, but then they kind of come back after that with we're giving money to our hospital.
You've got to get some good PR after the bad PR.
Yeah, for sure. But I was very confused.
That's exactly it.
Hasbro.
No, man, it's putting icing on a turd, bro. It's just that's what they're doing.
Well,
sorry, this is just for Project Darkcore and for Moonlight, because I know you guys will appreciate this, especially Project Darkcore, because you've got this pilot as your avatar.
What are we looking at?
I'm just letting you know. I see you, bro. It's the YF-29 Durandal Valkyrie from Macross, but it's a kit from Bandai, and it's really, really cool. It's the first time I've encountered it in kit form. I keep thinking that they did one already, but I don't remember what it looked like. Anyway, so this is new, and I just know that those two gents really, really dig that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to just go. I see you guys. See you guys. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we got some interesting news coming out of the chats. Alan gives it a 9 hisses out of 10. He really is looking forward to the dragonfly. Yeah.
Cool.
If you got a
Gives
shelf
me
big
faith
enough
for the
both of them,
dragonfly.
you've got a war against each other.
Mm.
That's a big ask. It'll probably be on the floor, right, El? I mean, I've been to your place, man. I don't think your shelves are that deep. This is some chunky boys. Interestingly enough, Joe Hunter 73 flipped it as soon as it funded. He lost interest in the classified series. That is terrible timing, I guess. But hey, man, follow what you truly love. And if you're getting out of it, you might as well. I mean, I hope you got a decent
Get out
price.
on a high. Yeah.
Or I hope you gave it to someone with a very good price, knowing that it would go to someone who would appreciate it. I guess either or. A perfect stranger and get some good bucks out of it, or like a pal who you know will love it.
Actually enjoy it.
And you did them a good deal. Yeah.
Very
Especially
cool.
with them only obviously making so many, because I mean, if you didn't back it, there is really no chance of getting it unless someone did buy several of them or lost interest before they received it.
It happens, man. The classified series has reinvented itself a vast number of times, considering how brief it's been around. But it seems to be on a hot streak that I'm warming to.
Whoa, okay. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, once Super 7's O-ring stuff, takes off, maybe HasLabs will do some more vehicles.
And maybe GI Joburg could be relevant again.
Didn't I in the last episode, I think I may have in the last episode of GI Joburg, Paul revealed. In the last episode, I mentioned that I'm probably gonna pretty much put a dead end to classified. I want to get that same Scarlet that Steve mentioned now. I'd like to get my quick kick from that line. I did mention Mindbender and Soapy. That would be cool to have. And pretty much after that, I'm thinking about Big Boa and I'm thinking about the rest of the Dreadnoks. But otherwise, I'm putting it. Guys, it sounds like a lot. But you know how many figures? It sounds like a lot. But you know how many classified figures are coming out between now and March?
Oh, and I'm out, guys. I just want another 10 figures and I'm done.
Dude,
one more fix. And I'm finished.
It sounds like a lot, but they are something. It's something crazy. I think they just announced 4 or 5 new other figures that are coming out. It looks like between now and March, it looks like there's about 20 figures coming out between now and June.
More than 100 figures in the line.
It's ridiculous. It's mad. So I want to cut it off there because those characters are cool and I want them in that size because I want to start putting that money towards the Super 7 O-rings. And hopefully they're great. So.
Well, we know what the first wave is going to include. Comic book accurate Snake Eyes, circa issue 21. Cartoon accurate Duke. Cartoon accurate Covergirl, blonde hair. And Ramar from the Master Vice.
The
big barbarian loincloth.
Yes, from the sports.
Those
Alan Grant asked earlier if that was a model kit. Yes, it is, bro. Just throwing that out there while I can, vocally. Carry on, Steve.
Well, I mean, Ramar is something that we've mentioned on the podcast, thinking like they better make it a 4-inch or 5-inch O-ring figure. So
that's an easy way to cheat your way into making O-rings, where like one of the O-ring figures you're making is a bigger than average O-ring figure.
How so?
Well, I mean, you don't have to actually like match the exact scale of an O-ring figure then if you want to make it into a taller than average figure. It's kind of like you're easing away in there. You're designing essentially 4 out of 5 of the figures to be proper O-ring scale figures. And the 5th one is kind of like a guy who can necessarily be bigger than he needs to be.
And regarding, I mean, the one that probably no one is excited about, but like a cartoon accurate Duke presents an interesting new thing because they tried that. The Hasbro retro reissues tried a more cartoon accurate color scheme, sort of ramped up the colors, but it was still the old mold. So there was a disconnect there. Whereas Super 7 are going to probably hopefully
They will make a new mold.
they'll hopefully make essentially an O-ring downscaling of their Ultimates figure, and that excites me just
That
a little
sounds really
bit.
cool, and it's cool to get like a classic looking new Duke, essentially.
Because classic old Duke is like flyaway crotch danger. I mean, Duke's crotch, just because of the sort of Frank and Joe parts usage, it's a Cobra officer crotch, isn't it? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's using a mismatched pair of legs, and so, oh man, it's a time bomb.
Well, then it's nice to kind
Touch wood. Mine's crotch hasn't shot off, but the knee did. So
whoops.
I've got a slight stress mark on
Crotch
my
is going
Dukes.
next.
Yeah, my knee as well. I had to do a repair on my knee.
Whoops.
But yeah, my Duke's crotch has got a little hairline crack, so I took it off. I put a little bit of
massage it.
No, I put some
Remove his
super.
crotch.
I put some
Oh.
super glue on the inside.
Oh, okay.
Good
Just
man.
like did a
You
few
got in there.
passes.
Never
yeah,
miss a moment.
Give it a bit more.
More girth. Yeah.
There you go.
Power,
Mhm.
yeah.
Girthy crotch.
Thicken
on
that
a Duke.
crotch.
Hell yeah.
You
Anyway,
just
so-
both cover gold and scarlet. You know, you got to be ready.
But I think it's nice that they are doing a mix, because obviously they're coming from their experience now of with the reaction line, focusing exclusively on the animated, the cartoon versions of characters, and they're kind of like easing into doing a mix of characters from the cartoon as well as doing characters from the comics. And I think that's kind of cool. You know, they're kind of like they're trying to like not just appeal to the people that are already connecting the reaction line, but they want to appeal to people who have been collecting real American hero figures.
Hmm.
Kind of
I have a
bridge that
feeling that like I won't pick up Ramar,
gap.
but I'm very pleased.
I'm
to
totally
see that
picking up
they're-
Rama. I'm here for that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
here for.
Hell yeah.
No, man, not just that.
I'm
I mean,
grateful-
not.
I'm grateful that
No,
they're
man.
tackling that and showing us like that they're okay
Thank you.
to have height ranges, hopefully. Within
Yes,
this
which could be
new O-ring.
which is nice, because I mean, obviously, you look at the old O-ring figures; they are essentially 99.9% all the exact same height.
Yeah.
You know, the exceptions being like Destro and Roadblock. That's it.
I'm
really.
thinking
There's
more
no real
along the
shorter
line-
figures.
Sure, yeah. In Classic Joe, the heights were pretty standardized, but then
Yeah,
in the 90s, they obviously did Sergeant Savage. That was still a O-ring construction, and they were 4 inches, slightly
Mm.
taller. The Mortal Kombat line had Goro, so
Yes.
things got interesting, and I wish they'd continued that trend, that construction that we so love, but like play with it a little bit.
Mm.
Hell, maybe make even a shorter character, like a kid character, like
something smaller.
More the
But I
families.
mean, and then also play with making more female characters, because I mean, obviously, of the female characters that we did get in the classic line, the most feminine one is
Cobra that
Baronet,
got away.
and and Scarlet has a slightly different body construction, but then after that, the others are very like in the line of the masculine versions of everyone else, like Lady J,
Masculine
CoverGirl, I
voice.
suppose, as well.
What, you don't like being
Um,
slapped around by a masculine
No,
Lady
I
J?
think that's fine. I mean, I think it would be nice to be able for them to play more with what you can do in the O-ring scale and the O-ring construction. Kind of give us more body types. I think that would be kind of cool to make the line look more interesting. You don't have to duplicate it exactly the way they did it, back then. You can actually see what are the limits, what are the possibilities of an O-ring figure.
I'm also curious to see the aesthetics that they have across the range, because they are definitely like going for a comic book design or a cartoon design. I mean, that is even explicit in these leaked listings. They're like Duke, cartoon, Snake Eyes, comic book. So will these figures all play nicely and look good on a shelf together? Will you have this sort of sunbone or garish
well, you have to
looking
be
guys?
like, here's your cartoon O-ring figures, here's your comic book O-ring figures.
And will they look out of step with classic O-rings? I mean,
it's a difficult balancing act, I think.
absolutely.
Kind of like match, to kind of like, how do you fit that with people's vintage GI Joe collections and going forward with the
Yeah, I
different
think-
mediums.
I think you have to draw a line and kind of be like, functionality wise, you're going to make them as compatible as possible, you know, in terms of like they can share weapons, backpacks, etc. And I hope that is the case. I hope that that is what Super 7 is going to do. But I think, I mean, if I was on that team, I'd also be like, oh, God, you know, people have had these figures for 40 years. Can we just like not try to match them 100%? Like, yes, let's get the general aesthetic right and whatever, but you know, let's play. Let's see what happens. Let's see how people react to this design and to that design. We can adapt on the fly as we go. That said, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in step with the whole GI Joe community, or if I'm the exception here. But for me, Super 7 is all about not GI Joe for me. Like, I love the GI Joes, and I want GI Joe figures from that line, but the Ramars, the Maras, the Bubbles, all that stuff, like those are the characters I want. Because we've had, and I said this on our little Blitz cast that Steve and I did when this was announced, we've had these figures for like 40 years. Okay, we've had the same. I mean, especially for us that are, you know, collecting vintage stuff. The reason we're so hungry for O-rings is because we love these figures, but we've also been staring at them for a very long time and playing with these figures for a very long time. And it doesn't make us appreciate them less. It's just, I do want other characters. I'm not exactly excited for I nearly said Spider-Man. I'm not excited for Snake Eyes 150. Okay, I'm excited about, you know, Mara 1. That's going to be exciting for me. I'm excited about Ramar 1.
Well, I'm delighted to see that in this lineup, we're not stuck in the core character hump.
Thank you.
Along with a Snake Eyes and a Duke, we've got a Cover Girl and a Ramar. I mean, pulling from the A, B, C,
the
D,
game of sport,
F, and G list.
But yeah, if they can keep that balancing act of, like, I suppose, you know, showing Hasbro, like, yeah, we are making those popular characters that you want us to make. You want us to remake those characters over and over again, but still being able to make completely new characters as well. Because you have to make characters that are recognizable, but then you have to also, appeal to the people that do want completely new characters we've never owned before.
Exactly.
I'm going to just predict that if you're wanting them to fit seamlessly in with your current O-ring collection, your classic 80s toys and 90s toys, might be a little bit too ambitious.
Well, I mean,
however, they will look good with each other, and this is backed up by something that Mark says in the chats. They will take inspiration from different sources, but they will still
they will work together. Yeah, because I mean, we've already seen that with their retro O-ring figures from Hasbro. Just because of the way that they're constructed, the different types of plastics they use, they don't look perfect next to the vintage GI Joe O-ring figures. Like, you can tell almost instantaneously, like that's the retro figure, you know, and that's my vintage figures over there. It would be cool if they could match them up, but there is obviously something about the way the type of plastics that were used in the 80s that they use these days. You know, it can't be exactly the same. It won't marry together well. I mean, you know, you kind of have to be like, okay, you know, I don't know. I'm going around in circles, but
no, you're right. Like, I know what you mean. Like, just accept that it is what it's going to be.
Bob's quite saying something nice. He's like, as long as they fit into my vehicles, I'll be exceptionally happy. That's all that really matters. You know, as long as they fit in the vehicles, you can man your vehicles that you already own with these figures. And I agree with that sentiment for sure.
Right, freaking on, guys! I think that's a wrap on episode 306.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Christmas special.
Christmas is over, guys. Good job. You did it.
I hope you get everything that you want this year. I hope it is peaceful and with loved ones, all that jazz.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to all the Joburgians. That's what I call them now, the Joburgians.
Wish you none of
Joburgians.
The Joburgers.
I prefer that to Joe Burgers, I must be honest. Joe Burgers is cool. Yeah, I think, guys, just in the spirit of like gratuity and all that, thank you to all the, you know, to the Berg Force, to the Joburgians, as Rob wants to
Yeah,
put it.
and to everyone who
Um,
watches us live, who watches our episodes, on repeat, who listens to us. Anyways,
repeat.
all of these sexy
anyone who's
people over
ever
here
involved-
in the comments or in the
Oh,
live chat and
all
more.
the live people,
guys.
absolutely love you guys. Thanks for for interacting with us as as we record these things. But thank you to anyone who's ever listened to watched us. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas and a happy New Year.
Thank you to the
And
folks
also,
who buy
thank
our
you to you
merch.
guys.
Perfect
You guys.
Christmas
Oh.
presents.
Oh, Paul loves
I just
us.
want to also say
Oh,
thank you to you guys. Nobody can see my visual flourish here for
Yeah.
making these episodes fun
Ah,
and interesting to be a
yes.
part of. Yes.
Oh wait, this way,
That's
Steve.
Steve and Rob. Thank
I
you
thank
guys.
Paul.
Make a
It's
heart.
awesome.
Oh,
Thank you, my
make a
dude.
heart.
Like, it's awesome. I'm glad
you,
that
Rob.
we're still doing this. I'm glad that we still got so much more shit to speak about. I mean, stuff to talk about. What is the thing you call them in the bullet sponges? What does he call them in the comic book? In issue 11, I thought that was interesting.
Bullet
Also-
stoppers.
Bullet stoppers.
Bullet stoppers, and also I'm surprised nobody had any questions about who are the wounded Joes that had to get wheeled out. But anyway, we've already had this conversation now. Yeah, guys, it's awesome, and
The
maybe we
poor-
should we tell
the
everybody
poor
that we're going to be
Nathan,
doing
man.
this
The
weekly
hell
next year.
destroyed.
Yeah, see what happens.
Oh
I
yeah.
think we
Yeah.
can do it. Hell yeah. Merry Christmas to everyone, and to everyone, a good night.
A good Christmas. Dun, dun, da, da. This is the Berg Force.
Thank you
Dun,
to
da,
everyone
dun.
who's ever
Thank you,
supported us
guys.
in the world. Force.
Happy holidays, guys. Goodbye.